better half.
What? Really? How'd you
You didn't say one thing you got in
Yeah, somebody's only missed a couple. Tournament on Friday in Salem. Okay. Yeah, no fighting.
How about you?
I think we will be filling out a scholarship application.
Well, they came Monday, the whole weekend was filled. Well, I was told that he was leaving on Tuesday. She got one of his. Well, you know, maybe I called her and told her. But the thing is, the people across the circle from me moved that Saturday. And they were up and down that circle many times because they had a trailer and a pickup. And they were twice as bad. And we had to live with it. So that happened so many people. Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't see my pictures. Just one for everybody to see. Well, you've been up there, but nobody else has been up there. You know, just look at that. And I can make the church that Sunday because I'm moving to take my car.
Well, I can't.
See, look at the ruts on there. You know, this is what we got to put up there. See where you're
Pretty much. Okay. No, he was forbidden. He didn't stay. He heard him and he bailed out.
You can sit until my office. If you want to do you think you can do without sound?
Hi Sandy, how are you?
I'm here.
Good.
What do you want?
We got some or things like that. It's still there.
My report tonight is pretty lengthy, so.
Mom wanted to do
Which looks like, what are you talking about? Your report's lengthy.
We have a meeting on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, be better.
That's about the extent of it today.
Was reset that Wednesday. Oh, did you? Oh, well, my report just got short.
Oh, that's
Great like that. That's great. Yeah. You did that one.
Received any feedback since we did the second reading of rezone?
Oh, we can't do it next Tuesday.
All right. We'll call the meeting to order. It's a little bit after 7. Tobias, you want to call roll?
Henning. Here. Kringen.
Here.
Mars.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Osby.
Here. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. A little short prayer here. Dear Lord, thanks for the nice weather we've been having. We could use more of it, especially for our people up in Palmyra. And please take care of all our kids going to school and back to school and now out in the streets playing, and keep a good watch over them and help the U.S. to come up, or the world to come up with a coronavirus to help with that. And we just are appreciative of all our service people, all our police officers, our teachers, anybody that helps out with anything. We thank you, and we thank you for your good grace. Amen. Is there a motion to approve the posted agenda?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. The consent calendar, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I just had one thing I was curious on with Centerpoint. Is this going to be like our last month with them then?
That is actually to be seen. You know, they just sold their retail segment.
Yeah.
We haven't heard from them.
Okay. Okay.
And CenterPoint being the company we buy our natural gas through. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. We'll go right to the public hearing, petition for a variance. And it's Crooks Housing and Redevelopment Commission. The property is lot 9, 10, 11, 12 in block 9 of Sunset Edition. To further explain that, Scott, I don't know if you just want to say where the...
Yeah, that's fine. So
going.
we were petitioned by the CHRC to consider allowing a couple lot sizes to below the minimum of 9,600 square feet per lot. And there's going to be 3 of them actually that end up being just shy of the 9,600 minimum, like 12 square feet shy of it, since it is shy of the minimum. I had them do a variance. So that's what the variance is for. So not a big deal, just paperwork and making sure we do it right. So I'm getting a proper legal record for the description.
And those are the ones right along the gravel.
Correct.
Is there do we need a motion on that?
Well, I'm asking some of the folks who aren't in favor of
In the audience? Okay, is there anybody in the audience that's here to speak about that? Okay. Now can we have a motion to pass the variance?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Open comments. Bill?
Whatever happened to that beer box bill?
We've turned it over to our city attorney.
Okay. I was just wondering, I haven't seen where you paid it or made anything that you weren't gonna pay it.
Well, yeah, we don't plan on paying the full amount, but again, our city attorney has it, and we haven't heard anything back. We haven't been getting a monthly bill from them, and so we're.
That's fine, I just hadn't heard
Yeah.
anything about it.
Okay. Anything else?
Steve and I are here from the baseball board.
Pardon?
We're on the baseball board,
Yes?
and we wanted to just get an update on the Palmyra Park and the north field, and then talk about potentially having a temporary fence up for a tournament that we're doing in May.
Okay. The temporary fence, is that gonna be at New Hope on the south field, or do you need it on both fields?
Well, we're hoping on both fields. Somebody thought that maybe you guys had one.
We have one that we bought last year for the one field,
Okay.
and we don't have another one. We don't have another one budgeted. I guess we can,
Well, I'm sure that we can maybe help out with that, depending on how much it is, but. for one
Okay.
field, great.
I can have Chad check. I believe Andrew, what was it, like $1,200?
It wasn't too terribly expensive.
So maybe if we can come up with something, but, and what's the date of that tournament?
It is Mother's Day weekend, I believe. Steve, May 9th and 10th?
So I think it's the 9th and 10th or
9th
10th.
and 10th, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and I know, we'll get to the park report, but and we've got some cleanup to do at Palmyra. We've sent a letter to the contractor to get his stuff out of there so we can start cleaning that one up.
So with Palmyra, is there a time frame on when, because with baseball starting, we're obviously going to have sign up for practices for all the kids, and that's taking place tomorrow night. So we're just curious on what that looked like from a timing perspective of when that would be usable.
Well, the email probably went out today. I know Chad did an email to get the stuff moved out of the batting cage area. And so I'd say, if they can get a guy here tomorrow or Wednesday to move that stuff, I think Chad's ready to get it ready for you.
We don't know how much damage there's been to the outfield or how soon that'll get fixed, though. That would be the only, that would be the only outstanding factor.
But it could be used for practice. I know, right now the infield is drying up without any rain or snow.
Yeah. I can take a look at it tonight and let you, I'll be at your meeting tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Andrew?
Are we talking Palmyra or New Home?
Both. Because we're going to have, obviously with the baseball sign-ups, we have kids all the way from, with the T-ball age, all the way up through, midgets, and teams and stuff. So we're looking for more of a, kind of update, even on that New Hope, that north field. I think there were some conversations around where I think it was pipe.
Yeah, we put in drain tile.
Yeah, so we were curious on that one as well, of where.
Chad thought about going out there today, and I said we better wait till Wednesday. We're gonna try and work on some of that dirt down and then carry out what's left. But at some point, we're gonna need to add some dirt and grass seed, so we're gonna have to work around it. We want to get the grass seed down as early as possible. And then there's a lot of ruts actually to the north of the trench. If you just look, it's pretty, so we've got some work to do, but infield wise, I think on all three of them, that's a good shot to go. It's just once we get into the outfield, maybe mostly questionable Palmyra and New Hope out to that drainage ditch.
So with those, is the plan to do just regular grass seed and then cover it and kind of block those?
Yeah, Chad was hoping that was our plan. Now, that's not saying that if we have a place we can get a sod cutter and cut some sod out someplace. The plan was to get grass seed down and get it coming.
Okay.
So it's ready for season.
Are there sprinklers out there?
No sprinklers.
think there's a spigot,
Okay.
because I know that we watered down the infield one tournament a couple years ago, but I don't think that there's sprinklers or anything like that.
Okay.
So-
We'd probably be safer with seed than trying to put sod.
What, you guys are you're gonna start this week practice?
I don't think practices will start, the draft and everything is tomorrow night. So that's when coaches will be decided, teams will be decided, then they sign up for
Okay.
practices.
Probably beginning of April.
So I can tell you that, Chad, we've been talking about it and it's a number one thing to get at, especially the New Hope was and Palmyra. So,
So did you say beginning of April?
Yeah.
So that would be kind of like a goal.
So if we do seed, will that, how quickly does seed come up?
Yeah, there's gonna be grass there, but it won't be, I mean, it won't be thick, it won't be full. You'll be able to tell.
How long does that generally take? Like,
Usually it takes like up to 14 days for it to come out of the ground, and then probably a couple of months before it's more or less grass, like a lawn type grass. And that's if it's well taken care of.
so games start beginning of May. And at that point, we serve both the outfield and the infield.
I think at that point in time, we're hoping that it's set up as well as it can get. And that's the problem whenever you do work on any outfield is, when do you do it? Well, we did it about as early as you guys could do it last year. And it's just a matter of getting that grass established now. And if we're hoping that it's decent. I mean, it's not gonna be like it has been, that's for sure. And then hopefully after the year is done, because you guys are done, what, mid-June?
Tiers go till July, mid-July.
Okay, things like right around that after 4th of July.
Yeah, right after the 4th of July.
Okay, so hopefully after that, we can get back in there and fix whatever else we need to get fixed, and hopefully it's in much better shape next year, but that's kind of where we're stuck at right now.
And we appreciate you guys bringing the drain tile in there. I think that'll alleviate some of the water issues we had last year.
I think you'll see a huge difference in that batting cage in that third base area.
yeah, go ahead.
What about like the hydro seed? Does that come up quicker than regular seed?
It's the same thing, it's just surface applied instead of drilled.
Okay.
And it has more of an issue dealing with dry spells.
Okay.
It's gonna be if we have the capability to drill it out there, it would be best, but most likely it'll be surface. It'll just be spread by hand, I would give it. It'd be the same thing. And then just mulch on top of it, which is what the hydro seed is. It's just mixed with the mulch.
I know we have access to a drill. I know Ryan Winters would borrow us one if it makes it easier.
If we could do it without making it rough.
Yeah. So anyway, and I'm, as a plan B or C, I'm not against renting a sod cutter and going out to the way south edge of the south field in New Hope and cutting some sod out of there and bringing it over. And I mean, we definitely want to have 3 good fields this year. It was tough last year, and we really want to have our fields a top priority for saying Crooks has a good plan and good fields.
So we could maybe just kind of see where it goes and come back towards sometime in April, and if it's, if we're concerned about making that May date, then maybe consider doing that.
Yeah, because then in between seasons, in end of June or whenever, we're going to try and do that first phase of moving the south field back into the batting cage on that south field. There's so much room, so the midgets and peewees have room, and then probably in the fall make us another field to the south. We have the plan. We've been trying for some grants, but we know we can do the first part of moving the field in by ourselves. And at least get that done, and then we'd have to plant grass on that infield where it's the dirt. So we really, I know Andrew is it's been his priority. I know Jacob's a baseball guy, and we just really want to make this a priority.
So would it be possible to, because obviously some coaches will start like right away with practices. Obviously if we get another 65-degree day out, the kids are going to want to get going. Is it a possibility to find out like how long you're going to block that portion of the fields off, or if we need to tell everybody at the coaches meeting there's no practices down there, or?
What, I mean, how far out is the drainage trench?
Oh, behind third base and behind second base, there's probably 30 feet, 25 feet distance. I would think you could practice. You'd kind of have to guard against going past that. I don't know if we put that temporary fence up there
Just to kind of block that area
Yeah.
off so that they know.
But otherwise, it's good from there in.
I was gonna say, infield practice shouldn't have any issue with that at all.
Yep.
And the south field would be good, and I know I've been in Palmyra. I don't think there's that much damage to the outfield, but there was heavy equipment out there. But again, you'll at least have for sure infield, and as you get back to where that drainage pond is, there's probably where Jacob's gonna check it out. But we want to be ready for you guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else?
Well, since you stole my thunder, what time is your meeting tomorrow? Because I was gonna talk about that, since you guys are both here.
6:30 or 7 o'clock is exact.
Well, we're gonna go right into the park report. So, Andrew?
I think we just had it.
Anything else? I know you're gonna have a meeting, or we're gonna have a...
We were headed originally scheduled for this Wednesday at 7 p.m. down here. Kind of ran into some issues with having meetings on Wednesdays right now. And the next time that the calendar really opens up for us is the 24th of March. That'd be a Tuesday, March 24th, 7 p.m. here.
We'll get that out to the board members, but anybody is welcome to come to that with input too from baseball or softball, and maybe we'll have some more answers by then. So,
Can I bring up something quick from the park? So we're planning on having the Easter egg hunt April 4th. Ideally, it'd be at sunset. So, I haven't been down to Sunset lately. I mean, I know that, but I guess it's just gonna come down to how wet it is.
They were playing kickball in there yesterday.
Yeah,
They had a
so
couple
unless we
teams
get a
playing.
big,
Looked pretty good. I was down there walking around. It looks pretty good right now.
okay. So that's a plan for now.
yeah, well, it's snow.
Yeah,
I still think we're gonna get a 10-inch snow, but I don't know when.
Hey, no.
So anyway, yeah, so it's in good shape now. It's
Yeah.
just weather related. Jacob, street report?
Hopefully we don't get any more snow. Other than that, we're working on sending a letter to Dunning, letting them know that we're gonna start their LD day count again. There's definitely some work they can get started on down there, curb and gutter, people's yards and whatnot, until they can actually do their roadway work, as well as cleaning up the baseball field park area, so that can be tuned up and ready for kids to play in the spring. Other than that, no. I think Chad and his guys are doing a good job keeping Palmyra rut free with all the rock that Dunnett's been providing. We've been doing a pretty good job maintenance wise out there, now that we have some rock to put down.
Say, I have a question.
Go ahead, Sandy.
When they put in that curb and stuff out there in Palmyra, are they gonna put it up as high as it was before? Because my driveway slopes down now, and it was never sloped down before. Are they gonna put it up as high as it was before, so there's no slope there?
So right now, the gravel out there is graded to the bottom of the asphalt. So it'll be up at least another 4 or 5 inches, right, Jesse?
Well, hopefully, because I don't want to
Probably more.
slope my driveway.
Yeah, and when they're going, before they come out there and do the curb and gutter, Jake would be the one that have the answers as far as how the elevations compare to what the pre-existing conditions were. They would be able to tell you that because they surveyed it all.
Well, you can be sure I'll be sitting out there watching them when they put that in.
Thank you. I'm going to interrupt our reports. Our deputy sheriff just walked in, and I told them anytime they are welcome to our meeting. And if you'd introduce yourself, and then if anybody has any concerns or questions, that's why he's stopping by, just to let us know if he's around. So I'll turn it over to you.
Deputy Larson, is new with the Patrol Division, so if for anything you guys need, any questions of us? I know there's some reports of some thefts in the last few weeks and stuff. If any of those things happen, even if you think it's minimal, it's pretty important to us. We piece those things together and make a bigger case out of it, so.
I think we maybe just have just some, I guess if you call it reckless driving, maybe in some of the parking lots or cul-de-sacs as far as kids doing donuts, but that's been, what, 3 or 4 months ago that we had some, 2 months ago, had some break-ins on unlocked vehicles. But
Can you give us your non-emergency number?
It's 367-7000.
what is
Even
it?
if you call 367-7000, even if you call 911, they dispatch it to us by the priority level that they deem it necessary. So even if it's not an emergency, when you call 911, it's not a big deal. They'll dispatch us at the rate that we need to come. So,
Thank you.
yep. Anything else?
No, I appreciate
Yeah.
you
Sorry, I
stopping
played
by.
that.
No, I know you guys are busy. I think you've intended to come a few times and have calls on the way to come here, but, so we appreciate what you do and, stop again.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, planning and zoning.
Okay, so one of the items was, you guys already covered tonight with the public hearing you had. 2 other things we have in the hopper are, we have another variance application for, and I know there's been a little bit of heartburn with it, so I just want to kind of explain this, kind of lead into it now, what you guys will get at your next meeting. Another variance application for the home that was moved in on 6th Street, built by Custom Homes. Some confusion whether that was going to get stick built. Come to find out, it was approved by the CHRC to move that home in there, which violated R1 zoning ordinance. It should be R3 for manufactured homes. But I just wanted to be very clear that was no mistake on the homeowner's behalf. That was approved by the CHRC. The question should have been posed to planning and zoning. We've now worked out the wiggles on approving communications, so we have an understanding of that. So what I recommended was that they file a variance to allow for that home to be in that zoning area. As we move forward, we've looked at a couple different options of how to address that in the future, because I think many of those homes are very nice, meet the same standards. So Bill and I have talked about how the inspection process should look going forward. So anyway, just want to be very clear that was of no fault of the homeowner. So that variance will be coming. They didn't meet the deadline for publication this time. We also will have a rezone of the property where the house was moved off of on West Avenue. Where the house was moved off back in there. So
They burnt?
yep. So that will be a rezone. Working with Tobias and the CHRC and legal. There's some issue with the legal description of that property. I brought it up at the CHRC, so we're trying to work the legals out of that to make sure that when the rezone goes through, that the legal description is correct. So, what else? Yeah, that's about it for now. We'll have some other things. We're going to change the zoning ordinance for storage units, just to clean that up a little bit, clarify some of that, where storage units can and cannot go. So we have the public hearing scheduled for that ordinance change for planning and zoning, and it'll travel to you guys too, so you'll have an opportunity to approve or disapprove and amend that to move forward. And that's about it.
I just had a few comments about the West Avenue property where the house burned down. I think we all know that the child care has paid a down payment and wants to go there. I haven't seen a plan. I guess I should ask Mike, but I think there's a tentative drawing. But I don't think there's anybody against it. It's just that they haven't been told about what's coming into their neighborhood.
Yep.
So it'd be nice. It's kind of the mistake we learned with the funeral home. If we'd had the picture and the drawing, it would have been a lot easier to.
Yep. So it's like I told everybody else, and I don't really get into the nuts and bolts because the CHRC will be the ones that are doing the rezone. It's kind of like we talked about with the funeral home, and until they take ownership of that property and they actually come with a concept plan, it's all hearsay as far as my board goes. So that's something that might not get talked about at my board until we know for certain what's going to go there. So we just talked about the facts of what we know right now. CHRC is going to rezone it, and then we'll obviously look at a concept plan and move forward to make sure that the daycare or really whatever goes in there meets all the setbacks, and and it has to fit into the area too. So we have some architectural standards that will be in place, and landscape standards for buffering, and so that.
I think the number one question I hear is the entrance and exit to the west or to the east?
So, yep.
And I don't know if there's an answer to that yet.
It would not disrupt the residential area, so it would come off the highway. The entrance and exit would come off the highway.
But I guess if anybody's, because we film and we're on YouTube, so if anybody's listening or whatever, it's not been done yet, you can come to the planning and zoning meetings and learn about it. And I'm pretty sure somebody from child care or CHRC is going to do some door knocking on neighborhoods.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so as we move forward, it will get addressed in planning and zoning, but I mean, CHRC, they've had the most of the information is flowed through that meeting, so, yeah, learn more as we move forward.
Okay, government buildings.
We got one more thing.
Okay.
As far as the pre-manufactured home goes, that's going in sunset.
Yeah.
Has it been made clear that we're not going to allow any more?
Yeah, so that's why we did the variance. So I talked to Patrick Glover, city attorney. He said we have 3 different options, and he said most evasive would be that we ask them to remove the home. Second one would be that there would be a severe financial penalty. So we explored those 2, and I said, and after I got all my information together, it was approved through the CHRC because they looked at their covenants, and I've been very clear in multiple different public forums that the city of Crooks does not recognize covenants as law. We use zoning ordinances that's backed by South Dakota codified law, directed by codified law. So even though it met the standard for their covenants, they went ahead and approved it. And then as I found out about it at the city council meeting when the report was given, I found out it had been moved in there. So what the city attorney and I came up with, since it was of no fault of the homeowner, we felt that the variance was the best way to do it. And not only that, but that is a one-time only. And that's why I was very clear that does not set a standard as we move forward. Because I was asked that too. Well, if you let one, you got to let more. But that's not the case.
Is there an approval process that needs to happen with maybe planning and zoning prior to a house actually being built or moved on site? That would take care of future issues like that?
So we talked about that I will review all future building permits for that purpose.
Is that something that we need to make a motion on to make that required?
What do you think, Tobias? That's kind of yeah, I think if we just have an understanding, like I said, myself and Mike, President CHRC, and Bill, the building inspector, we all got together and have an understanding of how we're gonna move forward. And we've had multiple conversations about, to them, the burden falls on the CHRC to make sure that their covenants do not conflict with the zoning ordinance. So. Yeah, and and it was, I could see, even there was some finger pointing on Bill, but when Bill looks at the engineer plans, and Bill actually met with the folks from Custom Touch Homes in Madison, they have because my biggest concern was to make sure that it's getting inspected properly and meets the standard for the area that it's going. And it does. Custom Touch puts out a really nice product. They have a third-party engineer come in, so there's no conflict of interest. So I just wanted to make sure that when I met with Bill, that he was okay with the process that they had in place as we move forward. And if we're either going to, one, amend the zoning ordinance, or if we looked at, CHRC is going to, continue to enter into another possibly 80 lots to the east, that we have an area, either we amend zoning or we have an area that is R3 for manufactured homes. So when you open it up to manufactured homes, it gives the definition of what makes that a manufactured home, and part of that is the fact that it's built on an assembly line process and how it's transported in multiple pieces. So that's what defines what R3 is. The problem is you could have a really good, reputable company like Custom Touch Homes that meets all those standards, and you could have other companies that it's built in Pennsylvania, moved to a distributor here, and then moved on that doesn't meet that standard. So we got to be a little bit careful about how we move forward with that, because not all meet that same standard as our local members do. So we probably will just leave it R3, separate zoning, to do that, but unless we can figure out another way to move forward, that's the way I'm leaning.
Okay.
Answer your question?
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else? All right, government buildings, Randy?
Not a ton to report as far as from that end. Chad, I seen an email today. He's waiting on one more quote, I think it was, for HVAC, as far as how we're going to proceed with going forward as far as updating some of the HVAC stuff. Unless Tobias has got anything else on that. And then we've got the sign discussion. So,
Okay.
do you want to start with the sign?
Well, I just threw one other thing that started where in past years, whoever was the mayor, and it was said this or that, I would just like to see us have some kind of agreement in writing about signs, not only the one out here, but the one in the parks. It's city property. They're not necessarily paid for by the city. A lot of them are charitable stuff. But I guess, don't you think going forward we should just have some kind of a format or agreement on signs? And I mean, I don't want somebody coming and saying, well, so-and-so has a sign on your property, now we can, or I guess I just, 5 years down the road or 10 years is what I'm looking at. I think we're fine right now, but I think we should define it. I guess. It doesn't have to be figured out tonight, but
I guess that's another one too that I had somebody asked me about was where the current daycare land sits. Of course, the city donated
that's
that
another
land.
one.
So somebody asked me if I knew how it was worded back then, if the city donated that under the idea that that would always be a child care center, and if it wasn't, then what happens to the land? And I didn't have an answer for that one, but yeah, I got asked that on Sunday.
Yeah, that's another one. I've just been getting questions. I thought, well, it'd be if we just had I don't know if it's a resolution or what, that we allow and who the operator is. So I guess it's just a discussion right now. So. you just wanna think about it, or if you got anything to say, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, but it's just like the child care, and I've had another question on the land that here where the community center is, and anyway, and then when you can't find anything written down, and it was done 10, 15 years ago, so just trying to think ahead.
Toby, what would be the best way to find a document like that? If we wrote down the history of how the sign originated, the donator of the sign, and then how it's being operated, would it, if we put it in a resolution?
So like the city pays for the electric of the sign.
Sure, yeah.
Jeannie did some glancing at community center meeting minutes, and it was brought up by the local nonprofit to put a sign in the right of way. Just have to look at meeting minutes. I mean, in the end, if there actually was an official acceptance of the sign.
What I'm saying is if we create a document that explains the history and the use and responsibility for all the signs, where do we put that so we can find it in the future?
All just be in meeting minutes. I don't think that there's going to be a separate record where it says all this and this and this. You mean like a cheat sheet, right?
If it's a resolution, would it be easier to find it in a resolution than it is in meeting minutes?
Yes, that is assuming that resolution is still in original form.
You gotta remember back then, the person doing Toby's job was part-time, you know, and they kept the paperwork at their house. So this stuff ain't around.
Yeah,
Sure, I'm just saying, when we create the document
There
now,
was no computers.
where do we put it? so
I
we
would
can
say
find
a
it?
resolution would be
We have it on-
easier to find and track than a meeting minute.
We have it on, we have the meeting minutes on the website, and in paper form, we have it now all online. I mean, but yeah, as Bill said, I mean, we have meeting minutes in the men's room closet in a box that are originals, I mean. And we found, when I started this job, we found like original resolutions tucked between like paperwork that was not even remotely related. I mean, we can look for the paperwork.
I just want to know, when we complete it now, where do we put it so we can find it?
Just in our resolution book, and we'll just have it there, however we accept it, or however the city decides to accept it.
Is it searchable or findable then, or do you got to flip through?
Online it is.
I mean, it's gonna be online.
Yeah.
And I think we have to look at even, you know, the CFFL signs, great signs, but 15, 20 years from now, or I mean, if somebody asks, well, who,
It's a city signage.
yeah, I mean, does it, because it's put on city property, is it all of a sudden become city property? But it just seems like there should be some kind of paperwork.
We signed a contract.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, where we agree to the maintenance, and it's our responsibility to sign. All the advertisers have to do is just put up the advertising.
You're talking about the one at the entrance to Sunset, or what sign?
No, I'm talking about the scoreboards.
Oh, scoreboards, okay, sorry.
I'm just
Advertising on each one.
saying that's another, so maybe that agreement we could look at and refine for,
I think you could put a clarification in all in one document for all of the signs or property or whatever you want to include in it.
well, like Bill, I mean, once Bill's gone, we're not, and Jenny.
Jenny was involved in
I
all
mean,
this stuff.
but there's a lot of stuff went on, and yeah, it was fine at the time, now we're growing, and for sure, I won't be around, but you know, when something comes up, it'd just be nice to be a little more organized about some of the things we think are okay, but maybe should have a better record of it.
Do you know, Jimmy, was it the Optimist Club that originally? Okay. So I don't.
follow documentation.
It was Optimist. And so what the document just show the original purchase, or the agreement to put it there, basically? Was that the?
It was brought up at a community center board, where someone said, oh, why don't we put a sign here, and that's kind of where we now would have to go to meeting minutes to see.
So was that the Optimist that
Yeah.
did it? Anyway, you know, we can do a little thinking about it and come up with something. It's not like it needs to be done tonight or by next meeting, but it'd be nice to have something better organized. Okay, Bill's not here, Bill
I
is...
got a.
Oh, okay.
Bill is working on a concise document to spell out when a building permit is and is not required.
Okay,
We should have that ready for our next meeting.
okay, and thanks for working on that. It's been, we've been going back and forth, but at least you've taken the initiative to say, Bill, get something done, so appreciate that. Okay, Jana, finance report.
I don't have anything to add, this is plugging away at the annual report, so I'm sure we'll be blessed with that soon.
And utility report, Jenny.
Everything was out here and put in a tier-in-place pipe. It went from the highway to Nicole on 7th Street, and also they did on First Avenue from 3rd Street to 4th. So it's all clay. Hopefully that plugs up a lot of leaks along that way, because I know they found at least 3 leaks on the main over on 7th Street that were pretty nice sized ones. So that's all good.
Did you get to see a televising of that after they
No.
completed it? Do you know if they did televise it?
I will ask more about it. They had televising up there. I didn't want to, they were moving around and interfere too much with it.
Sure. It'd probably just be a good practice
It would
to
be nice, yes. to
check
see-
out that video.
Yeah, that is it. So I will call tomorrow. See if they can provide that. Plus they cut out the lateral. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Plug these leaks.
And probably in about a month, maybe, we'll probably want the Palmyra storm sewer televised
Okay.
before they put asphalt down.
I need to get I talked with Jesse, do you have an as-built on where all the storm sewers going? And where we get in and I can get the hydroplane for.
Palmyra?
You want that, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's part of, so that'll be something else we address in that letter, the critical path items that need to happen, and that's something that because they still have to do some testing on the sewer too.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that that's all done prior
But
to.
do we have to have that camera, or is that part of the bid with?
Well, I know the bid has a sewer, I don't know if it has a sewer.
It doesn't have storm sewer in there, but since it's sat over the winter, we could ask them to do it. Wouldn't
It
hurt.
needs to be done.
Yeah. Tell them, I mean, because we've had gravel out there all winter, and it has to have gone into the storm sewer. Yeah.
And just as a point of reference, because there's a lot of water streaming through that park there, I did test to make sure there wasn't any chlorine in it, that we have the presence of drinking water, and it does not. It's all groundwater. Boy, does it stream in.
And that would probably be a good test to do again this summer, after all the groundwater dries up, or the surface water dries up.
That way you know something's not leaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did test it a couple weeks ago, and chlorine, which is good.
Cool.
Tobias, you wanted to speak about?
The BTU factor.
Yeah. I guess all I would ask was that we get a motion to apply whatever BTU, to apply the BTU factor that Senate points applies to us, to our billing.
Basically, we want to use a constant BTU factor that we get charged.
Well, it's the way, it's the heat that the gas is delivered at. And
Right.
BTU essentially is how many
It's
British
the
thermal
energy
units, you take.
100,000, BTU is 100,000. One thermal is 100,000 BTU. Essentially, we're getting hot gas. Anything higher than 100,000 means the gas is hotter than 100,000 BTU. So in each month, those that are in Mid-America, now you have got to count for Mid-American account, each month they give you a line item, and that figure can change. And so, I think what we're proposing is instead of having a set figure, we could change from month to month, but let's do that. Is that correct, Kevin?
Yeah, that's essentially from our 1.05 to whatever the utility company gives us.
It seems like we've changed it in the past.
Well, we changed it from 0 to 1.05, I think, a year and a half ago. and now it's just,
You just want to make it variable?
yeah, make it variable, essentially use the number the center point provides, because that way we don't lose out, because right now, if we bill less, we don't bill for, I guess, the actual.
Do you know what the variance is?
It's between 0.025 to 0.01. I mean, the variance is there, it's just, it's been more substantial in some months than in others.
So we could go up 25%?
No.
So,
No.
You said 0.25.
0.025.
Oh,
Yeah. No, if it was not a percent, it's after the one.
are you saying you want to follow what we get charged and use that factor, or you just want to raise ours and keep
Just
it?
what we get charged.
So you want a motion to say that if we get charged 0.01, that's what we charge, or if we get charged 0.02 next month, that's what we charge.
Essentially apply the BTU factor that the utility or our natural gas supplier applies, that we apply to our billing. It just makes sense.
So is there a motion? Does somebody want to?
Will you put that in? I'll make a motion to apply the same BTU factor that is applied to us by our natural gas supplier.
Second.
Does that make sense?
Any other discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Code enforcement, Dan? Okay. Mike is not here for an HRC report. I know there's some lots in the selling limbo. So I think in the next 30 days, we'll see 3 or 4 more lots get bought. Go ahead.
Mike I have a note written here for today's meeting that there's a contractor that's reserved 5 lots, and Mike was going to take action by March in regard to making those lots available to the public. Those were reserved in July of 2019.
And that's what the variance was for tonight.
Yeah. So he's keeping 3 of the 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the other 2 are open.
So is he closed on those 3 then?
It's going to close this month, hopefully.
And if he doesn't close this month?
Well, I guess next week is the CHRC meeting. That'll be an opportune moment for you to approach the commission. Or I can ask them too.
I can.
Well, whatever you want us to do. I'm there anyway.
Sure, yeah, if you ask him,
Okay.
that'd be good. Because he said action was going to be taken by March.
The variance tonight, that plat has to be filed and approved prior to them closing, because it changes up the,
Has it been drawn up yet?
Yeah.
we got it drawn up, we
We
just
have
have,
the Mylar.
we can produce it tomorrow, once we get it approved it tonight, then we can produce it.
Yeah. The only hiccup then would be if they were charged property tax again, then we can't file, we have to pay property tax, so that'll be.
The county wouldn't let me file it the last time because we hadn't paid our property tax.
Got to be up to date on those things.
And that's when we found out that there were 2 parcels on like West Avenue there too. So it was a good experience.
So other business, I know Chad has 2 dates. He offered 1 date and then a rain date for spring cleanup.
April 29th is 1 date.
That's the,
And last weekend in April.
That's a Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday.
Well, last weekend. Let me
So the 25th, maybe?
look. He spelled it out. Let me pull up the email.
Yeah, it's in an email.
Yeah.
is it on the weekend?
Yeah, it's usually a
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday.
With a rain date or snow date or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Usually the week after that.
25th
Okay. April 25th and April 26th, with the rain date being May 2nd and May 3rd. Saturday hours would be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday would be 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Is that okay, or?
Have we contacted, maybe Sweeney Sanitation to see if they're gonna be providing, didn't they provide some extra dumpsters or something last year to pick up appliances?
Yeah. Well, we can ask Garbage and more.
I think we're gonna try and do the same thing where they'll take the metal.
Yeah, what were they appliances wise?
Oh.
Washers, dryers?
Washers, dryers, refrigerators,
Grill.
gas grills,
Anything that didn't have any electronics in
yeah,
No microwaves?
No,
it, right?
no.
no microwaves or
No
TVs.
batteries, no.
And we have a person on site, one of their representatives to watch over that.
Okay.
Okay, we don't need a motion on
Unless you guys were wanted to
that.
more.
Okay, the second reading of ordinance number 256, the supplemental appropriations ordinance. And that is to keep the books straight on paying the Palmyra payments. Is that right?
Yeah, just a supplemental budget.
We need a motion.
Yep, we need a motion to approve and a roll call vote.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Yep.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, roll call vote, I'm sorry.
All right.
Bring
Aye.
in Mars.
Aye.
Richards.
Aye.
All aye.
Motion carried. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
So you guys would like to see something.
Oh,
And there was a
I've seen it, I live there. I've
You
driven
don't
up
live up in
there.
the circle.
Those are probably my tracks right there.
You don't live up in the circle like I do.
One of the board members.
I don't.
Look at those pictures.
And it's way better now.
Yeah, I did that right 10 times.
Well, and the whole neighborhood is way better.